Facts First presents 93-year-old veteran was sleeping in his car when a stranger told him that he would be going home with her. In November 2018, 2 wildfires caused extreme destruction. Many homes were destroyed. Entire neighborhoods were turned to rubble. People were forced to evacuate and leave their homes for their own safety. Some had no warning at all and had to leave with nothing but the clothes on their backs. It was a horrible time for California and the entire country. Each night, millions of people turned on the news only to hear more and more about the devastation that was occurring on the Pacific Coast. Lee Brundage is a 93-year-old World War II veteran. He lives in Paradise, California, which was engulfed in the Camp Fire. He lived alone when he got word that everybody in his neighborhood had to be evacuated. He wasn't stubborn about it. He knew the safest thing to do would be to evacuate. He lived by himself, and he got into his car and drove to a parking lot in a nearby town. Many other people in the area had evacuated to this town, and it was there that he met a very kind woman by the name of Tracy Grant. Tracy was in the parking lot. She was making burgers for those who were forced out of their homes. She went over to Lee and offered him something to eat. He told Tracy to save the food for somebody who needed it. Tracy wanted to make him the food, but she knew that she couldn't force him to take it. She continued cooking for the rest of the evacuees until the police told them that it was time to leave. The sheriff's deputies went to the parking lot where Tracy was cooking and told everyone that they had to leave the parking lot. It had nothing to do with ordinances, it was just for the safety of the evacuees. They said the air quality there was rapidly declining. The area was filling with smoke, and it was no longer safe for the people to be there. Tracy and Josh, they started packing up to leave, but they couldn't leave Lee behind. This 93-year-old veteran was sleeping in his car, so they said, "Nope, you're coming with us." Tracy asked Lee where he'd go, and he told her that he'd be fine, he would just sleep in his car. Well, Tracy couldn't bear to leave the man behind like that. She knew that he wouldn't last long in his car on his own, so she asked him if he would come with her, but he refused. Tracy refused to take no for an answer. When she asked him to go home with her again, he jokingly told her that he was too old for the ladies these days. Tracy laughed, and finally, Lee agreed to go home with her and Josh. When Tracy and Josh got Lee there, they set him up in their spare room. Lee got comfortable pretty quick because their home was a lot more comfortable than that parking lot he'd been calling home recently. The couple's 2 dogs quickly warmed up to Lee as well, and it wasn't long before they felt like family. When Lee was at Josh and Tracy's home, his future was still up in the air, though. He had no idea if he was going to have a home to go back to. Like many of the evacuees, his future was unknown. It wasn't easy for him, but Josh and Tracy did everything they could to make him feel as comfortable as possible. Tracy called her boyfriend Josh and told him that there was a man in their home sitting in his recliner and wearing a robe. She told him they were housing the 93-year-old evacuee and that he was the cutest man she had ever seen. Well, Josh didn't seem to mind all that much. He stopped by a store on his way home from work to get the man some clothes to wear. He was sure that Lee didn't have time to get any of his things before leaving his home. Tracy and Josh then told Lee that if he was unable to go home, that he would still be able to stay with them, permanently. Lee, who had no family, was very moved by their gesture. He'd become very comfortable at their home, and he was willing to take them up on their offer if need be. When their story went worldwide, Lee still at that point didn't know if he'd ever be able to go back to his home. While losing his home would be devastating, he's no longer worried about it. He has a new family to stay with if he needs to. He says even if he is able to go home, Tracy and Josh will still feel like family to him. They promise to remain close if Lee is able to go home. If not, he'd stay with them forever. This couple is incredibly kind and generous. Give them a thumbs up by clicking that like button. And also be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos.